And now Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha has faulted individuals who failed to implement the government's laptop project that would have salvaged the current situation. Magoha, who was attending the start of a two-day stakeholders meeting on university reforms, challenged institutions of higher learning to invest in online classes and address challenges of funding.
University education stakeholders convened in Nairobi for a two-day meeting aimed at relooking at operations within institutions of higher learning that continue to suffer owing to lack of adequate funding. It is at this meeting that Education CS Professor George Magoha took a swipe at individuals who he says failed to ensure the implementation of laptops for all school-going children, which would have come in handy in ensuring learning continues as the nation battles the pandemic.
Going forward, the President had a very good strategic thought, even for the earlier schools, when he brought the laptop project. But as usual, the implementers were not as good as we expected. Otherwise, this would have found us ready, and it would not have been a big issue, even for the other schools.
At the same time, he challenged universities to invest in virtual learning to ensure learning continues.
The good news is that most of them are having excellent online courses. I was saying that I have a relative who is doing LLM exams online as we talk now. So the universities are working. With regards to face-to-face, I think the greatest challenge is going to be in the boarding halls, where they have to rethink and re-engineer how they are going to do it. It may not be so difficult because they may decide to allow a certain cohort of students to come and another cohort to stay at home.
Magoha also took issue with what he termed as the flawed funding formula of universities, calling on stakeholders to deliberate on sustainable financing of institutions as opposed to over-reliance on government financing.
It's also correct that the funding formula is fatally wrong. It's fatally flawed. The funding formula as currently being implemented is totally against the established universities. And so it has to be re-looked at again.
He also spoke of greater autonomy at universities, even as he hailed the move by 70% of universities to adopt key COVID-19 measures as advised by the ministry. Well, the reforms that are being deliberated on here at the Kenya School of Government will now have to be implemented effectively in order to ensure a smooth sailing of the school calendar once it kicks off in January. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Sarafina Robbie.